Well, it is no secret that farmers across many parts of the country are under distress. Moderate rainfall coupled with the impact of demonetisation still seem to be taking a toll. In fact, research done by cnbc TV 18 shows that the prices of many essential commodities are now below the minimum support price offered by the government. Manisha Gupta, who's been tracking this, joins us now with a list of the items where the price currently is causing pain across rural India. Manisha, you've been working on this for the last several weeks. In fact, I remember the last data that you had put out for us was on the 8th of November. Take us through where things currently stand.
Well, yes, the just harvested Kharif crops are not just taking below MSP, but they also are trading below the cost of production for farmers, and that really seems to be an issue. If you look at the humble dal to start with, the prices for arhar is trading below 3,700 rupees. As compared to last November, last year, this is 32% below the MSP that was offered by the government, which of course is close to 5,500 rupees. The other dal that also is not doing well is moong, where you have seen a beating being taken. The prices are hovering around 3,800. Last year, this time, they were at about rupees 500 costlier, and the minimum support price is nearly 5,600. It's not just about the dals itself. If you look at the maize prices, those are also down 16% from its MSP. This is yet another crop widely cultivated across many parts of India, and the difference between the current price and the MSP is nearly 1,700 rupees per quintal. And it's also about the oilseeds. Soybean prices are down 15% from the MSP. Last year, the prices were below MSP as well, but they were higher, about 250 rupees per quintal from the current levels. Another item which is a staple, almost everyone's diet includes it, is the potato. The prices are down 10% from MSP. In fact, the price difference from last year is really drastic. The prices were over 1,000 rupees, and now it just is about trading at 450 rupees. Now, the only item which costs more than MSP is cotton. The prices were trading below MSP, but they have recovered a bit and is trading 1% above those levels right now. But everything else really is down in the dumps. And while the government, of course, has been promising a lot of things, they have hiked import duty and allowed restrictive exports as well. It hasn't helped the matters as of now.
Manisha, appreciate you joining us to take us through what the data suggests on the ground. Joining us now to discuss this further is Yogendra Yadav of Swaraj, India. Yogendra, thanks very much for joining us on the program. This is exactly an issue that you've been focusing on. I've been seeing your tweets through the day today, Yogendra. Does the data that you have corroborate with what Manisha, our colleague, was just pointing out?
Yes, indeed, Shireen. In fact, I should thank Manisha. This must be one of the few attempts made by any mainstream channel to actually look at what's happening to farmers in the price realization. What happens is this. Minimum support price is announced, and all of us say, all right, this is the level, and then we simply assume that the farmer must have got it. The reality is that less than 10% farmers ever get minimum support price. And that's a data from Shanta Kumar Committee. It's not my data. I would actually only supplement what Manisha is saying. The truth is, as she rightly pointed out, that in fact, every single commodity, when I checked last on the 7th of November, so her data is more updated. When I checked last, every single commodity, I looked up the top 7 commodities of Kharif. Every single commodity was trading below the MSP, and when I did it, some of my colleagues did, we took the top 100 mandis each. In each crop, we took the top 100 mandis, and we took an average of that. So just to add to what Manisha was saying, paddy, the minimum support price is 1,550 rupees. When we looked up the mandi price, and incidentally, mandi price is much higher than farmers actually realize, because there are all kinds of complications about moisture content and so on. And lots of farmers actually never managed to come to mandi. That price was 1,397 on that day. Bajra, official price is 1,425. And the price at that time was 1,101 rupee. Groundnut, similar story.
So what seems to be going wrong? What seems to be going wrong, Yogendra Yadav?
3,100.
Sure. What seems to be going wrong, and what is the intervention that you now seek? Because we are given to understand that whether it's high input costs, lower realization on produce, the trade is not building inventory. Many markets have actually shifted to banking from cash. The cash price and the check price for certain commodities continues to be very different across different mandis. What is the problem exactly, and what is the kind of intervention that you are now seeking from the government?
There are, of course, multiple problems. Some of these are very structural issues, long-term issues of, say, overproduction of wheat and rice that we have got into, and underproduction of many other things. So that's a structural issue. But what is pertinent right now are specific issues. Number one, there are simple bureaucratic stubbornness of the government. Bajra, for example, the government refused to purchase bajra when the bajra was coming to the mandi. We were writing every day to ministers, please start purchase. They simply refused. The government puts an artificial cap. We will procure only this much, we shall not procure more than that, which is something which can easily be avoided. The government has all kinds of bureaucratic demands. You have to have Aadhaar card, you have to produce 15 documents before I would procure anything from you. There are issues of import-export policy, which you understand better than I do. Specifically, what do we want? We want four things. Number one, procurement to be enlarged, especially in the case of rice, wheat, and some coarse grains and dal. These are procurements which can be enlarged.
Okay.
Artificial caps to be removed. That's number one. Number two, we need a deficit price mechanism which has to be installed, which is to say, if a farmer sells in an official mandi with a proper receipt at a rate lower than minimum support price, and we are sure that this is not result of price manipulation, then the deficit has to be made up by the government. This is a scheme used all over the world. Number three, market intervention by the state. In specific things, state should have certain funds should be reserved. State should intervene when prices fall, just as state intervenes when prices go up. And the fourth one is import-export policy has to be monitored in a very, very granular way. It cannot be done in a crude way like it is being done currently. It should be done just the way, for example, monetary policy is maintained. When you look at basic points, 15, 25 basic points, this is what will change. It has to be that swift. It has to be that nuanced. These four changes must be brought about. Otherwise, farmers suffer in a huge way. Incidentally, we made broad estimate of how much farmers have lost in this one season as a result of underselling below MSP. And our rough figures are something to the tune of 36,000 crore rupees. This is the loss Indian farmers have suffered in one season just for the top 7 crops. Now just imagine, this is the kind of situation farmers face on top of an agrarian distress, in a situation where they are already poorly off, they are committing suicide, situation is bad, and on top of that, in a rare year when they have a good yield, this is the kind of shock they receive.
So, rough estimate you're giving us is 36,000 crore rupees. That's the loss to the farmer in just one season on 7 commodities. Yogendra, before I let you go, what has been the response from state governments, from the central government? You said you've been writing to them. What is the response so far from any government?
Zilch did not receive a single response from governments of Haryana, which is where we wanted Bajra to be purchased. In fact, they said they shall not move beyond 1 October, which was their fixed date. And in reality, they did not start purchasing till the 12th of October. By then, farmer had sold, they had done distress sale of the entire crop. Most other governments, what are they doing? Passing off the buck. Central government should do this. What can we do? This is not to be done, etc. On potato, what has the government done? UP government made this huge declaration. We are going to buy potato. And then they put 15 conditions on that about the size of potato and everything else, as a result of which they did not purchase even 1% of the potato that should have been purchased. Unfortunately, that's the reality. Madhya Pradesh government has introduced an innovative scheme, Bhavantar, which is exactly deficit price mechanism. But the implementation of that scheme leaves so much to be desired that as a result, I see my farmer colleagues being very unhappy about it.
All right, so the need of the hour is intervention at the state level, an urgent intervention. Swaraj India saying that farmers this season have lost to the tune of 36,000 crore rupees because of selling their produce below the minimum support price, and also, as our colleague was pointing out, below their production cost as well. Thanks very much, Yogendra, for joining us as always here on CNBC TV 18. Well,